Hi loves! So from the title of this, you can probably already tell that I'm going to be talking about my hospitalization stories and why I find them traumatic and like why it makes me cry and sad and just, yeah, it's not a fun story. So if you're, by the way, if you're triggered by depression, suicide attempts, anything to do with those topics, I suggest not watching this video. Thank you for starting, but I don't feel like triggering anyone, so don't watch the video if those are not topics that you can handle. Understandable, that's cool, but this is my story. So when I got to the hospital, I got there around 8 p.m. and they didn't check my blood until 10, something like that. So a time after, well, they should, because I remember saying I think I took pills and I need to check if it's toxic or whatever. But they didn't do that until 2 hours after I was seen, so I was annoyed by that, but that's fine, whatever. So I got admitted. I went there at 8 and by 2 in the morning I was admitted. For Canada, it's known that our system takes a lot longer, just because we have so much people, and it was 2 in the morning, I was just annoyed, I was tired, but also I had anxiety. I remember going to the hospital or the mental ward and just being like, I fucked up. And I had so much anxiety that day, and I remember I told the guy who brought me to my room that I have a lot of anxiety and I need to I need something, I don't know, I just need to sleep. And he offered me sleeping pills. And so I said, sure, yeah, I'll take these sleeping pills. I'm thinking that this man's a fucking doctor or a nurse or whatever, knows what's best for me, but clearly he did not, because that's when something fucked up happened. So I get there and I take my pills and I instantly knock out. I don't wake up until like 1 p.m. the next day, and I remember waking up and I was in a daze. I remember, all I knew I was in the hospital, but like that was it, because these pills fucked me up. I remember when I went to stand up, because the doctor came or someone came and said it's 1 and you haven't eaten yet and you need to eat. So I had to get up. Maybe they didn't take in consideration my weight, because at that time I was 98 pounds and that's when my eating disorder was crazy out of control and I was super underweight, and I guess they just probably didn't take in consideration my weight. So when I stood up, I didn't feel one side of my body. Like, there were so many things that was fucked up. I couldn't feel one side of my body. I couldn't think clearly, and when I went up to walk, it was like I would take one step and my other leg would drag behind me. And I just remember I was so scared. I remember thinking I'm going to die. Like, whatever they gave me, I was going to die, or something was going to happen, because this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen because of sleeping pills. And so yeah, I was walking like that, and the lady was telling me, I think it was a lady, or I'm not sure. I think it was a lady. She was saying, you have to hurry up and walk. And I remember trying to tell her I can't walk properly, I can't think clearly, I'm scared, but I couldn't form the words to say it because the pills fucked up my speech. And it fucked up my mind. I just remember just being scared and trying to tell them, like, I don't feel okay, I can't walk, I can't talk properly, this shouldn't be happening, but I couldn't tell them that. So my sister, I don't remember much of it, but my sister brought me comics there so I can read while I'm there. But she says that when I was there, I was basically sleeping the whole time, or when she was there, I was sleeping the whole time, and she would ask me questions like, oh, what did you do today? And I would answer her back really short, like, nothing. Or she asked me, how are you doing? And I'm like, okay. Like, I couldn't form words, but I don't remember this. I just remember in and out of sleep, my sister trying to talk to me, and that was it. And my sister I remember her saying, like, she was really worried for me, and like she was just like, you weren't yourself, like we weren't yourself, and I was just like, that was pretty scary. But what happened to me next is what makes me dislike hospitals even more. So we're gonna call this doctor Dr. Cunt, because he's a fucking cunt. and that's what I'm going to call him because that's what I think he is. He's a cunt. So Dr. Cunt comes in, and this is after my sister leaves, and he asked me, why am I here? And again, I'm not in the right mental state. I don't know what's going on. All I know, I remember, yeah, him and this lady came in, and I just remember him asking me a bunch of questions. And I can't remember all the questions, but I remember certain things. So he asked me why I'm here, and I said something along the lines of, I'm depressed. Yeah, those are the words I used. I'm like, I'm depressed. I'm suicidal. I was just answering him like that. I'm depressed. I'm suicidal. And then he looks at the comics that I brought, because they're on my bedside, and he was like, someone who's really depressed wouldn't bring comics with them. And he was like basically saying I was there to escape whatever's happening in my life. And basically that was my worst fear. Because my fear was that one day I would, this is why for a long time I didn't want to admit that I needed help, because my fear was one day I would admit that I needed help and someone would tell me that I'm not really mentally ill. So he said to me that, yeah, you're not really depressed. Those were his words, you're not really depressed, because real depressed people, all they would do is sleep, and basically he made it sound like I would be already dead if I had real depression. And then I just remember trying to convince him. I remember, like, I had to convince him that I was mentally ill. Like, I was just like, he's like, I was like, I don't know, I'm like, I just always feel depressed, I always feel sad, and I just know I'm not okay. And he was just like, okay, sure. Like, he didn't believe me. Like, he actually said, okay, sure. And I remember, as soon as he left the room, I remember crying. I was crying because I was like, this is what, I had a feeling this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to admit I needed help, and someone was going to tell me that I'm not really sad, I'm not really depressed, and it fucked me up. That fucked me up. And the next day, he came back, and I was better. I was more mentally there. Still not 100% there, but I was more alert. And then he started asking me questions more, and he was like, okay, so he was like, what's happened in your life recently? So I told him a bunch of shit that's happened in my life recently. And one thing I told him was that I had a girlfriend I had a girlfriend and we broke up. And he decided he knew exactly why I was there. That he figured it out. Like, he was fucking Scooby-Doo, and he fucking figured out the mystery, because he was like, that's it. He was like, you're here because you're here because you're just trying to escape your life. He told me that I was really just here. I'm not depressed. I'm just really here because I want to escape my life. And I was like, whatever. Like, at that point, I knew I was forced to stay there for 4 days. And remember, at that point, I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear that shit. I let him know, I'm like, I'm okay with whatever happened to me and my ex. Like, I'm completely okay with it. That's not why I'm here. I'm here because following up the last couple of months, I've been really down, and it's getting worse, and I think I tried to attempt to take my life, and I need help. I'm here because I need help. And he was just like, no, he was like, no, you're just a rebellious teen and just going through some stuff or whatever. So yeah, my mom, he went to talk to me, my mom and my sister, and he said to me, to us, that I'm not okay with the fact that I'm gay. And I just remember being pissed. Like, he was like, she's upset about her breakup, and she's not okay with the fact that she's gay. And I was just like he was like, and he tried to talk to me, and I'm like, anytime he tried to talk to me, I'm like, are you done? Like, I didn't want to hear shit from him, because how does someone with a fucking degree, he had a degree, and he told me that he pinpointed the fact that I'm gay, and I'm not and my breakup, and I'm just a rebellious teen and I don't really have a problem, when I admitted that the first time I tried to take my life was when I was fucking 10 years old. Like, how are you, a person with a degree who went to school for a pretty fucking long time, tell me that's the reason, when I told him that wasn't the reason. That's not why I'm here. I don't know what it is, but it's not that reason. I'm okay with the fact that I'm gay. It has nothing to do with this breakup. It has nothing to do with whatever rebellious teenage bullshit that I'm just trying to escape my life from. Like, no, it wasn't that. And I just remember, like, yeah, he was like, okay, so he was just trying to talk to me, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, are you done? Can I leave? Like, I just remember saying it over and over, like, can I leave? So am I being admitted out? Can I leave? And then I left, and I remember after that, I became more depressed than I was before. I remember just feeling sad and hating my life, and I was like, I remember thinking, I'm not really depressed. The doctor told me so. This man told me I'm not really depressed, so I must not be depressed. So before that, my first time I was ever put in the hospital was when I was 15 years old, and that was my first suicide attempt I was put in the hospital for. And that was the same doctor, Dr. Kunt, was the doctor I had to see at that moment, because they didn't have anyone else, I guess. So he started asking me what my favorite TV shows were, and I told him, like, Supernatural, Doctor Who, Sherlock, Game of Thrones, Shameless, Misfits. I just started naming a bunch of shows, and he asked me to describe the shows. And so I told him about what the shows were about, and he said to me that he said, the reason why you're sad is because you watch sad TV shows. Like, I had to sit there and listen to a professional tell me the reason behind my depression is because, not even depression, he just said I'm sad. He's like, I'm just sad. But the reason I'm sad is because I watch too many sad TV shows. And I just remember sitting there and just being like, the fuck did I just hear? Like, I just sit there and listen to that bullshit. And both times, so when I was in the hospital the last year and I saw that doctor, I knew the same bullshit is what I was going to have to go through, but I just didn't realize it was going to be that bad. So whatever that doctor is, I want him fucking fired. I wish I remember his name, but I want him fired because he just made me feel worse about myself. He made all the progress I went through go back, and he was just fucking horrible. So besides Dr. Kunt, I had to deal with therapists that weren't good. One of the therapists I saw, I talked to her about my depression and something traumatic that happened to me in my childhood. And she said, I remember telling her it, and then she laughed. No, she laughed at me, and she said, well, that's a stupid reason for you to feel that way, like to feel depressed. And I was just like, after that, I think I didn't see her after that, because it was like, she just basically laughed at my pain, and I had to sit there and, like, I was like, I can't do this. And it was really horrible for me, because now whenever something traumatic happens to me, I always try to laugh it off, or I try to be like, well, it's not that bad, and it can be like really bad, but I'm like, it's not that bad. Like, I try to laugh it off because, like, someone told me whatever I went through, it wasn't that bad. I had another therapist sit me down and force me to come up with a reason why I was depressed. Like, she said, okay, you're depressed, why? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, no, you know why. You're gonna figure out why. And I just remember just telling her some bullshit, because she made me sit there for like 20 minutes, and I remember saying, I don't know. So I just came up with some random bullshit just to make her happy, and then she's like, okay, so that's why. And she was like, here's a way to solve it. And I'm like, okay, but this is a fucking made up reason why I'm really here, why I'm really depressed. And so that too was just bad. So if you can't tell, I have so many more stories, but this is like, I'm trying to shorten down. But that's the reason why I can't see therapists. I hate going to the hospitals. I don't like being there, because most of my experience there has been very traumatic. I'm all for self-diagnose. I'm all for people who don't want to go to therapists. I'm all for people who don't want to be hospitalized. Like, if people who do, go ahead, do you, like, that's fine. But for me personally, I can't do it. And for other people who had similar stories like I do, they don't want to see anyone, and I completely understand. As someone who's not mentally ill and hasn't gone through the shit that I've gone through or anything similar, can't tell people who've gone through it what they should do, because it's very easy to say just get help when you've gotten help and they laughed in your face or they told you you're not depressed. So that's today's video. I'm sorry it was kind of a downer. I'm sorry I got very upset in it, but it's just whatever happened to me. I'm sorry I sound so tired too. I just am. I'm very tired today, and I'm just sorry. I'm sorry that it wasn't the best video I could have put up. But if you're interested in me smiling and being happier, I'm going to put up videos soon. I'm not sure when, but I will put up some videos soon. And as always, like, subscribe, and follow me on my Tumblr and Twitter. And on my Tumblr, I post a lot of photography, so if you're really interested in that, please check it out. And again, I'm really sorry that this wasn't the happiest video I put up, but I will see you guys soon. I love you all.